Hello, good evening. Good evening. My name is Obendako. Welcome. I want to share with you what I call the ability to think. The ability to think. Humans are about the only creature or the only creation of man, of God, who has the ability or who has the potential to develop the ability to think. And animals, they say they use instinct. And so if a woman does not develop their ability to think, their results will not be different from the other creations that don't use their ability to think. They say that thinking is a very, very hard job. That's why very few people engage in it. And it's true. Things that will improve people's life, that will bring progress to people, are not readily accepted by many people in the world. Things that will bring people amusement, enjoyment, happiness, that will make them forget about their pain or their responsibility, are very much popular in this life. So see that things, when there is party, occasions, programs, things that engage people to forget about the ability to think, you see that those things are very much popular in this life. The ability to think is not that much common to a lot of people. Not many people really think, because thinking produces results. Thinking produces progress. You cannot see a man who is successful at anything that they do without them engaging their ability to think. Because without thinking, there's no success. We've been brought up in a place, in a culture, in an environment where we've been so much conditioned not to rely on our ability to think. The other day I was studying something and I was looking at this kind of statistics that they give on richest people around the world and things like that. And I saw that most of these guys have been using the ability to think, to innovate, to create. You cannot innovate, you cannot create without thinking. And so most of us, especially the religious ones amongst us, when you talk about thinking, it's almost like God is against it. You cannot look for success in this life without thinking, without you being able to develop your mind, without you being able to see patterns, without being able to look at data and analyze them, without being able to add numbers together, without you being able to look at problems and think through to solve them. And so if you so wish, because a lot of people only hope in this life, so if you so wish that you want to improve your life, you want to improve the conditions of your life, just as all of us would want to improve our conditions, the conditions of our lives, usually you virtually I think most of us get late in coming to the awareness that the mind that we have, our ability to use the mind, is virtually responsible for all the successes that we enjoy in this life. Most of us were told that somebody else somewhere will come and help us to succeed, or when somebody else prays for us, we will succeed, or somebody else give us some kind of money, we will succeed. And so the conditioning, the school has conditioned us not to think. That's why when you went to school and they were teaching you agriculture, they wrote a lot of things for you. And when they were examining you, they asked you to give the same kind of definition that they told you to give. Your mind, your ability to also, maybe they were looking at, they told you to define, let's say, what is an animal, and they gave you a particular definition. Now, that definition was not sent to the earth by another angel or God. It was one man's revelation of how to define an animal. Now, when your teacher was teaching you that, and he said that, okay, an animal is this, that. When your teacher is examining you or was examining you in school, most of the education that we have here, they never expected you to define that animal beyond that which they had given you. And so they just want you to regurgitate, to just reproduce what they told you. It's not thinking. Reproducing what somebody else has given you is not really an engagement of your ability to think. Because your ability to think should be connected to how you see the thing and how you can interpret it in your own ways and in your own understanding. And so the fact that they sent us to school really does not mean that the school has encouraged us or has given us the freedom to think. The school may have told us to read. And that's why I think that if you are going to think, you should look at mathematics as one of the main courses that you should look. Because without mathematics and without your ability to add numbers, your thinking ability usually is numbed. It's numbed. So you can see a pattern. What do you think about how to create wealth? What do you think about how to create business? What do you even call success? Can you see a pattern? Or you just see anything anyhow? Because most people are controlled by the education that they had. And they think that once they were educated to be doctors, it means that they can think. It's not necessarily so, because they work within a particular framework, so they dare not even ask questions. One of the factors that you can see that people think is how they are able to solve problems. So if this problem has been with the people for 1,000 years, for 100 years, for 200 years, and they are not solving these problems, it means that those people have been cultured or grown not to use their head. And so you can see poverty prevalent in places where thinking ability is now. Thinking ability is low, or thinking ability is slowed, or thinking ability is not being emphasized. The moment you encourage people to use their brain to think, they will create solutions and they will create progress and they will create development. And so success is almost not possible without your ability to think, especially if you had to create the success yourself and you had to create it from your kind of status that you have. So when you hear people talking about and the grace of God and the prayer and all those things that they are trying to tell us in Africa, that's why a lot of us, especially the religious ones, are not going to achieve much, because they have numbed our ability to think. So you have to be conscious that there is an ability of the power of thinking. How you think is your world. A man's world is his thoughts. So how I look at the world is the way I think. And the decisions that I make come from the way I think and I process issues. And so if my thinking is weak, the results of my life will be weak. And those will have very much little to do with God if you're religious. And that's a hard truth for us to embrace, because they told us that, somebody is responsible for our success. And it becomes difficult for us to embrace the fact that our mind, the power, how we think, has been the sole factor of the kind of results that you have achieved in this life. So if anybody conditions you, and if anybody wants to control you, he will take that ability from you. He will make you not focus on your ability to think, to use your brain, to use your mind. And so when anybody else gives you any information at all, he has told you this thing. For the last 20 years, this thing has not produced results. But because you cannot question, one of the things that we see you using your brain or thinking is the kind of questions that you're asking, relevant questions that you're asking. We live in a generation where you see social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, all those things, all those platforms. And usually, what are the things that people ask? You can see that somebody is very much passionate about asking a question that has no bearing to improving his future or his life. Or when I used to listen to radio, and some of the programs that they were doing on radio, especially in the afternoon, somebody will just cook some story and they will sit on the radio and discuss a story that has no bearing to the growth of the people, to the growth of the country, And these are people who are poor. This is a country that is trying to develop, and we can use 2 hours, 3 hours discussing somebody's creation. Or if you met your wife and your mother drowning, what would you do? The fact is that this question, does it improve our condition? Does it get more people to drink water? Would we get, what kind of solution would we get after solving this your question? So your ability to think is linked to how much relevance you give to the questions that can change the narratives of your life, the narratives of your company, the narratives of your country. So it's not just that. It's not that people have people have head, so they think. No, people have head, but they can't process anything. They can't solve anything, because what they are processing has no bearing to the future that they want. So you can see that most people are very much passionate. They spend a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of resources in getting answers to things that will never improve them. And I think that Africans have mastered this kind of way of life, where people really spend a lot of time debating and discussing things that will never improve their lives. Especially the young people. They are discussing Stonebwoy and Sarkodie and who is the best rapper, and he has no job. Your ability to think is weak. You may have a degree, but you can't think, because your head is given to you to make progress, to move forward with your life. So you are discussing Sarkodie and everybody who should be the number one, because the world has been programmed to make us not use our mind. And we never see that. And some people will call it, no, that is your opinion, that is my choice. Listen, it's not opinion, it's not your choice. And nobody's success, nobody's progress in life, you're not supposed to share anybody's progress with them, because you have the same time and the same ability to think and create solutions as the other person. The difference between me and the other person who is making a lot of great progress is because he's able to use his mind well. He's asking relevant questions and solving them. That's why his life is progressing. The other one whose life is not progressing is because he's asking questions that have nothing to do with the progress of his life. So if you are not happy with the status of your life and you want to go forward with your life, look at the things that you are paying a lot of attention to. The questions that you are asking and the answers that you are looking for, are they relevant to where you want to go? Because most people are asking things that will never improve them. Most people in this life, especially the Africans, the youth, they spend a lot of time asking things that will never progress their lives. Why? It's because their ability to think is weak. So they cannot map it, that the resources that I have, the brain that I have, the time that I have, the money that I have, how can I use these things to create the future that I so desire? And if I'm not doing them, it means that I'm not mapping well. It means my ability to think is weak. And your success is really a product of your thinking. You can debate it, you can fight it, but nobody is achieving something that they don't know. So if somebody is achieving more than me, it's obvious that that person knows something that I don't know. And that person is processing a lot of things that I am not using my time and my this thing, the head, to do. That's why they are. It's also some people are now going to Mars, they are creating a lot of complex things, and we still at the basic stage as Africans. We are very basic. The basic things like fighting the mosquito, fighting the water, making sure that people can go to very quality hospitals, dealing with food issues, things, housing problems, dealing with illiteracy. Those basic things we're still struggling with them, and yet some people are putting up. They are going to Mars, they are going to all kind of things. They are looking at nanotechnology, AI, artificial intelligence. Those things. Those are the realms that those guys are going, and they don't have any head. They don't have double head. They have the same kind of head that we have. The difference is that they are challenging themselves to think and create solutions. But we, the same time, we have the same 24 hours as they have. But look at the questions that you and your friends, when you meet, what are the things that you are so much passionate? Sometimes you can see somebody so much passionate discussing Arsenal and Manchester United. Like, God. And this guy does not even have a work. He's jobless, and yet he has 4 hours to discuss Manchester United. His ability to think is weak. His ability to think is very weak. And until he's been made aware of the fact that until he changes his mind, the way he processes issues, his life is not going to change. His life is not going to change. And when it comes to a lot of these guys I think it's more even with those who are religious than those who are not, because they try to say that once I pray, everything will change. Your heart can be good, and that is good. It's a good foundation for you to have a very good heart. You love people, you're kind, you're respectful, you're forgiving. But that's just a foundation. For you to build on the foundation, you need very powerful ability to think and create solutions and solve problems. And thinking, I think, is not of the heart, it's of the mind. What are the things that you can challenge your mind with? What are the books that you read? What data is attractive to you? What program on radio do you watch? What book? When you want to read a book, what book do you pick? Do you pick the book that will cause you to stretch your mind, or you pick the book that will make you laugh? Because a lot of people like, they like comedy, fun. When we were children, they call somebody waterproof. And my uncle will put that his tape, the comedy. You put it in his tape, and we will sit down and we will hear it, and we will laugh. It was like, he stops, and then we go back and we will laugh. But what solution did we create out of that? What problems did we solve? Nothing. We just laugh and crack jokes. That means that you are not using your mind. Because if you are extracting any information from anything, that information should be able to help you to solve some pertinent problems around you. Should be able to make you better. But if that you spend your time, you hear something, and all that you are getting is what? It's laughing and cracking jokes and smile and laughing, and that's it. And you go back and you still have the same kind of issues. It means that you are not developing this ability to think. Because the more you think, the more you can solve the problems that you have. So even unemployment, your ability is a reflection of your ability not to think and not to think well. Sustained unemployment is your ability or your inability to think. It may be harsh, it may be very much inconvenient, especially if you're in the middle of that situation. You'll be offended by what I've just said. But the fact is, it's true. It's true. If you have been in a situation for years and you have nowhere to work, it means you're refusing to think. Or you have not developed your ability to think. It's harsh, it's dangerous, I know, but that's the fact. Because unemployment is a problem that you have to solve. And if you think, and if you're really thinking, you solve problems. You solve problems. But if you are full of fun and comedy and jokes, the problems will be perpetual. And you'll be waiting for somebody else to come and clear them. So ability to think, without it, you cannot progress in this life. If somebody does not know anything, he does not pray like the way you are praying, and is able to think and innovate and create, that person will go further than you. Money is a result. Clean money. Not the one that they are washing. Not the one. Clean money. It's just a result of somebody who is thinking. Look at all the guys that they are calling billionaires. Go and look at what they do. Just product of thinking. It's product of thinking. School is not a product of thinking. School, they just sent you through a harsh system to frustrate you and to make you feel like you can use your brain and think, but you are not. You're not able to use your brain and think. The fact that you went to school does not mean you can use your brain to think until you start to use those tools to ask pertinent questions that are frustrating you, and getting answers. Your ability to think is low. So I am talking about your ability to think, and the premise is that success is a reflection of ability to think. Quality decisions come out of thinking ability. Quality thinking is responsible for progress. And the difference between us and animals is our ability to think. That's why when you see the bird is making the nest the same way that bird has been making the nest over all these years. But the human being, those who are thinking, are able to continue to upgrade and update their methodology in solving problems. So if you see the other human beings who are not upgrading the methods that they use to solve the problems that they have, whether it's the sewage problem, water problem, health problem, food problem, it means that those kind of people, the ability to think is low. That's why they are not improving on the methodology. Because technology is a reflection of thinking. It's a product of thinking. And so if you are using the old, let's say we are going to war, and somebody else is using all these planes, the war planes, and you are using catapults to fight them. Do you think who do you think will beat who? The one who is using the topmost technology will beat, because technology is a reflection of people's ability to think and to create. Thinking is responsible for creation. Thinking is responsible for growth. Thinking is responsible for enlargement and expansion. So if you're not thinking, you're not solving problems. And if you're not solving problems, your life is stagnant. And if your life is stagnant, it means that you're dying. So that's why with the population growth and with Africans who are still not using a lot of the brains that they have given us, the best of our groups, the best of our people are now, going for PhD and consultant and law and all those things. They don't reflect that we think. They only reflect that we went through the system to get certificate. If you are thinking, you'll be able to customize all those things that they have taught us and use them well to solve the problems that we meet. Yet some of the problems that we continue to have, they've been persistent, and we dare not change them, or we do not touch them. Why? Because we have undervalued the ability to use thinking to bring progress. And so if you want to bring change in your life, if you want to bring something in your life, success, you have to look at what is affecting how you think and the way information is coming to you. The quality of information that comes to you will affect the quality of thought that you process. So if you're the kind who is always watching CNN and BBC, everything that they say on it is old. You don't need it. You can't solve anything with it. You can create with it. If you are listening to the radio all the time, early in the morning, you are listening to radio, and they are discussing all these news, and they are discussing all these politics, that is the kind of knowledge that you can use to create. And the more you feed yourself with those kind of knowledge, the more or the slower that your thinking ability becomes. Why? Because they are not giving you tools that can help you to solve problems. They're just compounding. They're just creating fear. They're just telling you, yesterday 10 people died on the road accidents, another person killed somebody, the president lied. Those are the things. Those are not the information that you can use to create and think well. So to think, you need quality information, and you need the ability to solve problems. And so the books, the information, the things that will make you aware of how to solve the problems around you or will show you that you're thinking. So let's say you are a manager in an organization, or let's say you're an entrepreneur, and let's say you are making 20,000 a month sales, and you say that, okay, this is a problem for me. Now I want to make 200,000 a month sales. The moment you set that goal, you set your mind into thinking. You start to look, okay, so if I'm doing 20,000 and I want to do 200,000, what are the things that I have to do? Automatically, you see that you will not use your time to be watching Manchester all the time. No. You see that listening to radio becomes difficult for you. You will see that you are looking at numbers. How many numbers? How many do I have to do to get to the 200,000? So the moment you create a problem that you want to solve that will bring progress, you start to use your brain. You start to use your brain. And look around. There are things that people continue to tell you that are not getting you the results, that are not bringing you the growth, but you still continue to believe them because you're not thinking. And people will continue to control you or control me when they know that we don't use our brain. So they say a lot of things to us, they don't produce results, but we still believe them. There are a lot of them, so many. So many. One of it is that if you move from Africa and you go to America, you become successful. Have you sat down to get any data? You just heard it. If you finish school, I remember when we were going to school, by the time you even finish the last paper, some people were at the airport going to America because they wanted to succeed. Is that true? That if you move from Ghana to America, you become successful or you become rich? Question it. If you're thinking, you know that it's not true. It's not true. You may be able to get a nice car to drive, get a mortgage, and maybe wear some nice clothes. That's all. But you trade all your life for that little lifestyle. Little lifestyle. Ask questions. They told you that once you get a bank job, you become rich. Is that true? Can you think? Can you look at the data? Can you look at the numbers? Is it really true that once you finish school and you become, you work in a bank, or they call themselves bankers? I don't know if they own the bank. They don't own the bank, they work in the bank. So they are not bankers, they work in a bank. And if you get that kind of job, it means that you become successful. Is it true? Have you asked yourself, are you thinking? Can you put your thinking cap on? Can you ask questions? Is it true that those guys are rich? No. Are the numbers? Is it true that when you get a job, it means that you become rich? Ask the numbers. Is that true? If they pay you 5,000 Ghana cedis a month, the whole year is 60,000. Do you think that 60,000 is able to make anybody rich? No. Ask questions, because thinking is able to challenge all the things that they have told us all this while. And if they are not producing the desired results that the assumption was based on, and we continue to do that, it means that we are not thinking. It means that we are not thinking. So ask questions, ask critical questions if you want to bring progress in your life. Ask critical questions, because there are a lot of assumptions. And the assumptions that we have believed in, they clad our ability to think. And if you want to think, you always, almost always, would have to be opposite what a lot of the things that you have heard that don't produce the desired results. So there are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. Let me get another one. What is it? Like if I there are some professions that they say that if you become one, you'll be successful. Are you sure? Have you sampled all the people who have done that? And were they successful? At least successful in terms of money. Were they? No. So you ask questions, and then you start to look for solutions. Ask questions. Ask questions. Ask a lot of questions, because that is a proof that you're thinking. And never run away from challenges and problems. Think through. Do the numbers. Always, if they give you assignment, break it down to the time that you need, to the minutest time that you need to do what bit of which item to get the results, the holistic results that you need. It means you're thinking. You're thinking. So challenge a lot of things, a lot of assumptions that you have taken, they have talked you into, they have talked me into. If you're thinking, you will challenge a lot of things. If you're not thinking, you are the one just watching football and smiling and joking, and some of them are even quoting Bible. They're not thinking. Okay, there are a lot of Christians who don't think. That's a fact. They just quote the Bible. They quote the Bible to us and they tell us that they are Christians. Jesus was a thinker. If you don't know, he thought. You can buy a lot of deceptions because you are not thinking. He thought. And so don't believe that you're just going to become successful in this life without using your head. It's never true. The difference between men is the ability to think, to use the power of their mind. In this world, this physical world that we live in, people who are very much successful are people who have better thoughts, better abilities to think. That's why they have better strategies, they have better technology, they have better methodologies to get to their results. That's why they beat the others. Okay, that's why they beat the others. Countries with better economy, they are doing a lot of thinking. They are using their brain. And those without better economy, they are waiting for somebody else to come and help them and pray. So the ability to think is responsible. It separates men. It separates men. Separates men. Somebody is talking you into go and do this course, and when you finish that course, you get a lot of money. Have you asked questions? The people who are teaching that course, do you think they have money? Do you think that once you finish university, you'll be rich? Do you think that the professors who are teaching you are rich? So there's a lot of assumptions that they have put on us, and we believe them. We believe them. We believe them, and that, I think, they seize a certain level of ability to ask questions and think. And so your school has made you not to think well. The culture has made you not to think well, and sometimes the religion has also made us not to think well. And if you want to think and create solutions, and even if you want to develop as a country, we need a lot of people to think. Not to discuss political points and news file and those things. Those are not thinking. That's the fact. News file and all those things that they are just discussing things that happen. Thinking produces results, solutions. When as a child, when as a young man, Koku Sechado was discussing all these things every time. We are still here. It's the same things that they are discussing. And you use 4 hours every Saturday watching them. And you want to bring progress to your career, to your business, it's not going to work. Just listen to them 5 minutes and put it all somewhere. And concentrate on things that will help you to become better in getting problems solved, getting solutions, becoming better with your money, becoming better with your career, expanding your business, increasing your sales, things, coming out with better technology, better solutions to solving the problems that we have as a country, as a community. So don't just focus on a lot of this noise. No, I eventually call it noises, because they are noise and they cloud you. A lot of people, that's all they know. Just listen to radio, watch TV, follow Shatawale, and that's all. And watch football like the way the World Cup is coming. The world has programmed a lot of the world's population not to think. Not to think. So when it comes to comedy and things that are occasional and humorous, yes, something like that. They want everybody to agree. But when it comes to things that will bring progress, change your life, bring increase, make you free, make you take charge of your life, that one, they don't want you to see. I don't know who set it that way, but so far, that is it. That is it. And so if you are going to do the otherwise and bring progress to your life, you have to know that some things have been said and they are not true. So Sam, you said that you are right. Our education system is based on old colonial system, which does not allow us to think. We have been taught to just believe whatever, without critical. That's it. They just taught us. So you meet a lawyer, he's only quoting the law. Me Lord, me Lord, me Lord. You can think the solution. Where are the numbers? We can see. That's the fact, because you can control a lot of people based on the kind of information that you give them. And if somebody does not help them to question a lot of the things that they have pushed on them, then they will be controlled forever. And I think that we are seeing a lot of it on our continent. So we say that we are creating prosperity, but where is the productivity? Where is the productivity, and who are in charge of those productivity? Do you think that the factories are people are in charge? Do you think that all the things that are creating the wealth, do you think that Ghanaians are in charge, or Africans are in charge of that, or somebody else, foreigners are in charge of that? If foreigners are in charge of that, then you are telling us that you're creating prosperity for your people. That, for me, that's not add up. It's not true, because whoever is in charge is the one who is going to benefit. And so when they come, they say these things to you, and say, yes, it's true, because you are refusing to use the power, your ability to think. And so there's nothing wrong with thinking. Ask a lot of questions. And don't let anybody talk you into fear. Ask questions. Every man is a man. They were all born, just every one of us. No matter their status in society, we're born just as you. Ask questions. Ask questions. If somebody comes and says that he's a consultant, he's an authority on something, he comes to give you all this lecture that they give you and quote all these American authors, and you just sit down and say that yes, what you are saying is true. No, ask questions. Can this be applied here? Can we say it in the African? Does it work? Where I read businessmen, professor can't boast of companies. Yes, they don't. They lecture reference. Oh, it's quoting. Yes, they quote. That's what they know. And so when you sit under them, what kind of context do they give you? It's virtually coming from England, coming from Singapore, coming from America. There's no context from from the African way. And so, what do you think? So you go to Makola, you see a lot of people, young women, trading with big figures. And somebody is saying that he has been trained as an engineer, there's no job here, so he has to travel to America and create prosperity. That's a lie. That is a lie. If you're thinking, you add the numbers, you know that if you have to work and somebody is paying you 5,000 a month, in some of those countries, all that you are worth the whole year is 60,000. That is if they have not taxed you, if you have not eaten from it. How much can you save? And for you to get to $1 million. Do you know the percentage of people who can boast of $1 million in these countries? And you are saying that you'll be rich there. That's a lie. That's a lie. So the numbers, ask questions. Don't just sit down and say that. So develop your ability to think and ask questions. Will help you to become very much persistent, even in your ability to achieve goals, because you are able to separate the wrong from the right. You're able to see through. When somebody is telling you that it's difficult to build a business, it can never work, nobody has ever done it, if you're thinking, you see the numbers, you will know the path to take to follow it. If you're thinking, you define your ability, you define yourself, you define your aspirations. You spend your time rightly, you spend your money rightly. You even look at your relationships rightly, because you are going somewhere. When you're thinking, you are resourceful, you're useful. But when you're not thinking, you don't value the time, you don't value your uniqueness, you don't value your talent, you don't even value the kind of gift that you have. All the things that you think that you have that can help you, you may even gloss over them because you're not thinking. When you could be living with very good asset and you will never see it because your mind is clouded somewhere. And so your thinking, your ability to think is responsible for your success in this life. And for a country to develop, the ability to think, the citizens, the leadership, and everybody, the ability to think is responsible for the success of the country. If you have a company, your ability to think, the leadership of the business, everybody in the company, do they use their brain or they are just praying? If you're just praying, you will not succeed. You will not succeed. So don't buy lies. Don't believe a lot of things that they're saying. Sit down to use your brain. That's the difference between humans. The one who is successful and the one who is failing. The one who is failing is not using his ability to think. The other one who is winning is thinking. I think there is somewhere in the Bible that says that as a man thinks in his heart, so easy. So there's thinking. It's not as a man prays, so easy. As a man thinks. As a man thinks. Because all creation is coming from that thinking. What do you process? When you hear somebody say anything against you, how do you process it? How do you think it? When you hear somebody talking anything against your dream and your passion, how do you take it? If you're weak, you let any negative statement from another person just put you down because you're weak. When you're tough in thinking, when you're strong in thinking, when your ability to think is so high, you see those as noise. You're able to go because you're able to separate the wrong from the right. When you're weak in thinking, you become depressed because you're not able to put things rightly. If somebody says no to you, you go home and you weep and cry. If somebody says that you are not nice, you just go home and cry because your ability to think is weak. When your ability to think is weak, you're tough. When your ability to think is strong, you're tough-minded. And nobody wins without being tough-minded. Nobody. If you're weak-minded and weak-spirited, people will cheat you. People will lie to you. People will take advantage of you. But the moment you start to develop your ability to think, and you see it as that which is responsible or which is going to be responsible for your success in this life, and you use it well, you succeed, no matter which level that you start. And so don't replace thinking with degrees. They're different. Thinking is different from certificate. Thinking is different from profession. Thinking is different from whether you're male or female. Your ability to think is seen in how you process information and how you solve problems, how you ask questions to get solutions, how you spend your time, and how you're able to correlate that to the productivity that you're expecting, how you use your resources. They show how you think. And if you don't think, your life will not progress. If you see anybody progressing intentionally, it's because they are thinking. They are thinking. They're thinking. So my name is Kwabena. Say think. Think. Very few people engage in it. That's why very few people become successful. Very few people engage in it. That's why very few people become successful. And if you're an entrepreneur, you cannot overlook thinking. Don't follow magic. Don't follow lotto. Don't follow miracles. Think. Use your ability to think. If something is not going on rightly in your business, sit down, analyze, critique, go through, get the data, develop patterns, and you see what is wrong and what is not wrong. A lot can be solved if you think rightly, if you use your ability to think. A lot. Not only in business, not only in finance, even in relationships, a lot can be solved if you think. If you think well. If you think well. And if you use that, you can create a lot of things. People are developing things just because they are thinking. They're thinking, and they are thinking really hard. But if you're a young man and you are only using all your time to play games, you're wasting your time. So get books. There are a lot of books on thinking. Get them. Read them. How do you think? Don't think that you're thinking because you have a head. No. The proof that you are thinking is because you're able to solve problems. The proof that we are not thinking is because our problems are swallowing us. And we don't do anything about it. It means that we are not thinking. So there are books, there are articles. Go to the internet, Google, how do I think? How do I use thinking? How do I use the power of thought? Because it changes everything. The moment you start to think rightly, you become strong. You become strong. You become strong. You become strong. So think. Use it. Don't replace your. I wish that a lot of our young men would think. Don't just follow anything. Our young women especially will think. Any boy anywhere tells you that he's rich. You don't know his business. You don't know anything. You say that my boyfriend is very rich. He's driving Land Cruiser. And you follow him. Can you ask questions? You want to get a job and they are saying that they have to sleep with you. Can you put your head together? What can you create? If you are thinking, you will never sell your body. That I know. If you're thinking, you will never sell your body. You will do something. You will never create desperation for yourself because you're thinking. Your ability to think is there. And it means that wherever you are, you can solve problems. So nobody can convince you that, come, I want to give you a bank job, but I have to sleep with you. Or you have to pay bribe for you to get a job. You are thinking, you can put the numbers, you can see the patterns. Say, no, I don't need this. I will start from where I am. And I will go with it. I will go with it because you're thinking. But you cannot get to that status when you're not feeding your mind with the right information. When you're not feeding your mind with the right information, you cannot think. Your ability to think will be weak. So look at the books that will help you to think, to develop skills, because thinking is a skill. Thinking is a skill. It's a skill, and nothing replaces that. It's responsible for your success in this life. Everything that you touch will reflect your thinking. This shirt that I'm wearing today, I chose it. It's a product of my thinking. If it's good, it reflects my thinking. If it's bad, it reflects my thinking. Wherever that I do, whatever that I say, whatever that I challenge, whatever that I use my time on, the kind of friendship that I keep over time, the kind of people that I keep around me, the things that I spend. Who do you listen to? Who are you studying from? Can you regiment your time? Those things are reflective of your thinking. Okay, and its ability. A lot of people believe only in their certificates. Certificates don't change nobody. Degrees don't change nobody. Don't believe it is a lie. Okay? It will get you something. You'll be. I have some. I went to some school somewhere, I think. But to get results, you need different content. To create and bring results, and bring prosperity and create success, it's a whole different pattern of thinking. And you cannot use the radio information, the telegraphic information to create powerful thoughts. Okay, because there are a lot of young people like us around the world who are creating businesses, creating technological products. They are creating companies. They are creating products all over. It's because they have given themselves into thinking, to thinking. They have raised the ability to think through. Now, our people here, we have reduced thinking. It's not even on the table. It's not. You meet any young man, you can see this one is not thinking. And he can pull all the MBA and all those things to you, but he's still not thinking. You can see it. The way he talks, the way he uses his time, the way he puts up his argument, you can see that there's no ability to think. But he can show you that he went to Lagos, he went to Kwabena and Marie University, but he's not able to think. And if you doubt it, give him an assignment and tell him to solve it for you. You know that he's not thinking. Okay. Why? It's because a lot of them didn't use their time to expand, to build the mind. They didn't read anything apart from the course that they went to read. They studied only to pass exam. And there are so many. You interview them, you become miserable. Don't be one of them. Change the story. Read, spend time, build your mind. Don't waste your time watching all this football and all these things that people continue to watch and laugh. Life is not a joke. It's not comedy. Life is serious game. Everything on your Facebook, everything on your WhatsApp, and sometimes you read the content that people put up on Facebook early in the morning, 6 o'clock, and it's creating joke. I'm like, so is this the best that your mind can process? With all the difficulties and all the problems around us as a people, is this the best use of your mind? It's amazing. It's amazing. The best use of our mind is to solve the problems that are to us as Africans. That's the best use of mind. So what can you solve? Can you solve the waste problem? Can you solve the water problems? Can you solve the unemployment problem? Can you come out with a product? Can you come out with a system? That is how you're thinking. Okay? So you're looking for solutions. You're not just looking to follow a pattern. Just know everybody is the same. You think the same. You act the same. Your friend buys a car, you go and buy the same thing. Your friend marries, you go and marry. Your friend goes to read law, you go and read law. Where is your brain? Can you think? Can you think? Can you be different? So when you're thinking, you'll see that it will improve in your finances, it will improve in your satisfaction in life, it will improve in your ability and your confidence. You will see it. You will see that a lot of your choices are quality and they fall in line. You become patient and you become that much confident in the prospects of your future because you're thinking. And thinking is a gift. So if you're aware of it, you will use it for your benefit. If you don't know it, you'll be waiting for God to help you. And yet, God will never have given us this powerful brain. It's the most powerful brain. It's the most powerful thing that ever happened. The mind. The power to use it is what changes a man's story. Okay? It's not, you see, when they believe that your brain is not working, that's why they are always trying to say that they have to pray for you before your life will change. Because they know that you cannot use your mind. If you can use your mind well, the prayer is somewhere and you are somewhere. Because a lot of things that they are praying for is actually a duty of the mind. That's a duty of the quality of thinking. A lot of the things that a lot of these guys are praying for people to have is really product of quality of mind or quality of thinking. A lot of it. And a lot of it is money problems, things like that. Relationship and money problems. And money problem is just a problem of thinking. It's not prayer. It's not prayer. But it's tough for you to tell the African, especially the religious, that this one is a product of thinking. And that's what God gave us. Why do you think God didn't give us the gold bar? He put the gold that we have to use the technology to extract and refine it. It's because he believes so much in the power that we have. That's ability to think. Okay, and create solutions. Why do you think that you were not giving birth as a grown-up, but you were giving birth as a child. Then your mother and father had to take care of you till you grew, because he gave us this. Or do you think that the chair that they gave you, it didn't drop from heaven, but it had to be made from the wood? What makes you think so? Or the glass is coming from the sun? You know, or the things, or even the engine box, or the car. Why do you think that the cars did not drop from heaven? Or the plane, the computer, the telephone? Where do you think they are coming from? The electricity, they are product of people's super ability to think and build systems and structures. So that's a proof that you're thinking, you're solving problems. So when you are depending on saying that it's our tradition, it's our tradition, defend the tradition, but you die with it. Okay, because there's something more powerful than the tradition. It's your ability to think, to improve the tradition, to solve the problems around you. And so my name is Obedako. Thank you very much for watching. Think. Go ahead and think. It's responsible. It's the only thing that is going to separate you now and your future. Your future is going to be different from today because your ability to think is alert. If you go to sleep, your future will not be that much different. And it doesn't matter where you were born. It doesn't matter where you live. Quality of thinking is free. Just get to have the right information and use your time well. You can create every future that you want if you start to know how powerful your ability to think and solve problems is, and create the life that you want. You can only create the life that you want out of your ability to think and create that future.